I'm Renee with A Deal in Brussels, speaking today with Jyrki Katainen, European Commission Vice President. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Now, the European economy is not in the best shape at the moment. GDP growth last year, 1.4%, unemployment, 9.6%, Eurozone a bit worse. Where would you like to see those numbers by the end of your term in 4 years from now?
Hopefully higher level, because the growth is necessity in order to run welfare model of our continent. So that is the reason why the Commission want to concentrate on investment side. We are lacking of demand and we are lacking of supply. So the member states must reform the societies to be more competitive. This is one of our priority. And also we can use the European tools in order to create new single market in these sectors like digital or energy or capital market union. And also we have established a new RiskSharing Fund for private investors.
Now, the forefront of your jobs and growth plan is this scheme, this European Fund for Strategic Investments. How do you ensure it delivers true fiscal stimulus and it succeeds where previous initiatives have fallen short?
Our basic analysis is that Europe is full of liquidity, so we didn't want to pump more public money to the market. Instead, we wanted to create a new fund which aim is to share the risk of private investors. So the EFSI, European Fund for Strategic Investment, is mainly for the private investment and also to public-private partnership investment. So the logic behind the fund is that it covers the risk or potential losses of EIB, the European Investment Bank, which makes it possible for EIB to invest in higher risk projects. And by doing so, we expect it to release or crowd in private money to real economy.
Now, the public part of that you've been covering very well, lining up commitments from various EU member states,
exactly,
promoting this investment plan on an extensive roadshow. How do you now get private investment in these difficult times?
The biggest challenge at the moment is to raise the awareness of EFSI, the new risk-sharing fund, amongst the private investors. And that's why I'm traveling around Europe. I have visited already 24 member states, meeting business sector, investors, financial market participants, etc. So the feedback has been very encouraging. Also, one part of the investment plan which seems to raise interest amongst the financial sector is the project portal. It means that we will create
an online portal.
Exactly, online portal, which basically means that we give a marketplace or better visibility for infrastructure projects from different countries, and then investors can choose to which they want to chip in.
And the projects, though, are not limited to infrastructure. They're also looking at innovation, healthcare, and so forth.
Exactly, exactly. For instance, R&D investments are very top priority for us. And also the EFSI has basically two strands to which it will do investment. The first one is SME window. We will use the European Investment Fund as a tool to channel venture capital, equity type of financing and other types of forms of financing to SMEs. And then infrastructure side is another one.
Now, these are very turbulent times in Europe, of course. Everyone is looking at what's happening with Greece and the Eurozone. I won't ask you to comment on that. But for foreign investors watching it with a bit of nervousness, what reassurances can you tell them about Europe's economic well-being, its economic future? What's your message to them?
Actually, the market reaction tells the whole truth, because even though Greece is in very deep trouble at the moment, and we don't know exactly how things will go on. We all want to help Greece, but it depends on the willingness of the Greek authorities and government if it's possible for us to help. But if looking at the market reaction, it has been quite modest. So the other countries' government bond yields have not risen or only very marginally. So it means that market knows that Europe is resilient and there is not severe contagion risk, because we have all those crisis management tools and vehicles in place. So of course we have to solve the Greek problem, but then at the same time we can be quite confident towards our future.
So Europe, the message is Europe is very much open for business.
Of course, yeah. And the main part in the investment plan, which I think is the most important part, is to create new single market in energy sector, in capital market and in digital market. And this gives new opportunities for private sector to expand their businesses. And I'm quite sure that in 2 years' time, once we have managed to create better single market in these areas, we can see a lot of foreign direct investment to our member states because there is a new market.
And one last question, how will this investment plan for Europe in the medium to longer term encourage M&A opportunities, especially for European companies?
Well, 3 elements. The first and the most important part is better, more harmonized internal market, more options for investors to expand their businesses. The second is risk financing is there, because there's plenty of liquidity in the market, but there's lack of risk financing because the banking regulation has changed and it has had some kind of implications to risk financing. So now we are offering risk financing in order to encourage investors to invest. And the third element is the project portal, which gives better visibility for good and economically viable projects to which pension funds or insurance companies could invest.
And that portal will be ready when? When can investors check it out?
EFSI legally is up and running by September. Project portal will be ready by the end of the year, hopefully as soon as possible. And single market process, because it means harmonization of legislation, will take a little bit more time, hopefully not more than 2 years. But anyway, we are reforming Europe from the very bottom because we have to be ready for fierce international competition, and that's why we have to reform our continent.
Thank you very much, Vice President Katainen. For The Deal in Brussels, I'm Renee Cordes.